Captain Alex Mercer stood at the forefront of the delegation room aboard the Helios, the flagship of Earth's interstellar fleet. As the ship approached the Galactic Council's massive orbital station, his second-in-command, Lieutenant Jonas Harper, adjusted the communication panel. "Everything's set for our arrival, Captain," Harper reported, his voice steady despite the underlying tension. Mercer nodded, his gaze fixed on the viewport where the station grew larger every second. "Let's keep this smooth. Open the channel to the Council." Harper executed the command, and the view screen flickered to life, revealing the visage of Ambassador Threll from the Galactic Council. Threll's features were sharp, his eyes reflecting a mix of curiosity and caution. "Welcome, Captain Mercer, and the delegation from Earth," Threll intoned, his voice echoing through the Helios. "We are prepared to receive you in Docking Bay 6. Please follow the guidance beacons." Mercer stepped closer to the communication console. "Thank you, Ambassador Threll. We appreciate the Council's hospitality and look forward to our discussions." As the connection ended, Mercer turned to his crew. "Harper, maintain our course. Ensign Rodriguez, keep our shields at readiness. No surprises." "Yes, sir," they responded in unison. The Helios maneuvered gracefully under Harper's skilled control. The docking procedure was smoother than expected, a testament to the Galactic Council's advanced technology. Once docked, Mercer assembled his team in the airlock chamber. Beside him stood Harper and Rodriguez, along with Dr. Emily Chen, a xenobiologist, and Sergeant Mark Lewin, head of security. "Keep your eyes open and stay sharp," Mercer instructed. "We're not here to start trouble, but we'll be ready if it finds us." Lewin checked his sidearm, a non-lethal restraint device designed to comply with Council regulations. "We'll keep the peace, Captain." The airlock doors hissed open, and the human delegation stepped onto the station. They were greeted by a contingent of various alien species, each a representative of the Galactic Council. Leading them was Ambassador Threll, who approached Mercer with a formal nod. "Captain Mercer, your arrival has been much anticipated," said Threll, extending a hand, or what seemed like one. Mercer accepted, noting the cool, slightly tacky texture of Threll's skin. "The honor is ours," Mercer replied. "Earth has much to gain from this interaction, and we hope to contribute equally." Threll smiled, a gesture that seemed to stretch his thin lips unnaturally. "Come, let us introduce you to the Council members. There is much to discuss, and many are eager to learn about your species' unique characteristics." As they walked through the corridors of the station, Harper leaned in and whispered, "Do you trust them, sir?" Mercer kept his voice low. "Trust is earned, Lieutenant. Let's start with understanding and see where that leads us." Their procession finally entered a large hall where beings from across the galaxy gathered, buzzing with anticipation. Mercer felt the weight of countless eyes on him, each assessing the newcomers. Threll guided them to the center of the room where a circular table awaited. "This is where we will begin our talks," he announced. "But first, a demonstration of goodwill from each side is customary." Mercer nodded to Dr. Chen, who stepped forward with a small case. Opening it, she presented a vial of earth water, pure and gleaming under the hall's lights. "This is a gift from Earth, water, fundamental to our life and survival. We understand it holds different meanings across cultures and species." A murmur rippled through the assembly as the vial was passed around. Mercer watched, aware of the symbolic and literal transparency of their offering. As the meeting commenced, Mercer felt the beginning of something significant. Whether it led to peace or peril, only time would tell. But for now, humanity had taken its first step into a broader universe. The atmosphere in the council hall was thick with intrigue as the vial of water continued its journey around the room. Each council member inspected it with varying degrees of skepticism and wonder. The room's ambient hum of conversation ebbed and flowed like Earth's own ocean tides as Captain Alex Mercer watched carefully, gauging each reaction. Beside him, Dr. Emily Chen whispered, "Notice how they handle the water, Captain. It's not just curiosity, it's caution." Mercer nodded, his eyes never leaving the vial. "Let's hope our gesture doesn't backfire." As the water returned to their possession, Ambassador Threll resumed the formalities. "Now, Captain Mercer, please enlighten us on the significance of water to your people." Stepping forward, Mercer cleared his throat, addressing the assembled dignitaries. "Water is the essence of life on Earth. It sustains us, nurtures our crops, and is a source of beauty and recreation. To humans, water is harmless. In fact, it is vital." A murmur of disbelief spread across the room. From the corner of his eye, Mercer saw a reptilian delegate from a sulfur-based planet narrow its eyes, a clear sign of its shock. Seeing the rising skepticism, Lieutenant Jonas Harper interjected. Perhaps a demonstration would settle any doubts? Mercer nodded, and Dr. Chen carefully opened the vial. She poured a small amount into a glass and drank it, her actions observed by hundreds of wary alien eyes. The room fell into a stunned silence. Ambassador Threll finally broke the silence. This is most extraordinary. If water is not a toxin to you, then you are unlike any species we have encountered. Mercer took the moment to further their standing. This uniqueness, we believe, can offer new perspectives and solutions within the Galactic Council. Our resilience in environments you consider hostile could be invaluable. Threll nodded slowly, his expression unreadable. Indeed, Captain. This revelation could open many doors. However, it may also open you to risks. Not all here will see your resilience as a boon. The captain's jaw set firmly. We are aware of the risks, Ambassador. We came prepared to face them. As the meeting adjourned, Sergeant Mark Lewin leaned in, his voice low. Do you think they'll see us as a threat now? It's possible, Mercer admitted as they walked back to their quarters. But showing weakness wasn't an option. We need them to respect us. Back in their private meeting room, Harper activated the security measures. We should remain on alert. There's no telling how some might react to today's demonstration. Mercer paced slowly, deep in thought. Keep an eye on communications. Any hint of a threat, I want to know immediately. Yes, sir, Harper and Lewin responded, their expressions grim. As the team dispersed to carry out their duties, Mercer stood by the viewport, looking out at the stars. Earth seemed so distant now, a small, blue dot suspended in a vast, dark sea. Here, in the heart of the Galactic Council's domain, he was reminded of just how precarious their position was. Captain, Dr. Chen approached him quietly, her gaze also turning to the stars. We may have stirred the pot more than we realize today. Are you sure we're ready for what comes next? Mercer turned, his gaze firm and determined. We have to be, Emily. Humanity didn't come this far to shrink away at the first sign of trouble. We'll meet whatever comes with the same spirit that carried us to the stars. With a mutual nod of resolve, they prepared for the days ahead, uncertain of the alliances and enmities that their unique trait might provoke among the stars. As days turned into weeks, the human delegation's presence at the Galactic Council grew from a curiosity to a focal point of political maneuvering. Captain Alex Mercer found himself increasingly involved in a web of diplomacy, each meeting testing his skills and the loyalties of those around him. In a secure conference room, Mercer convened with his senior staff. We've made an impression, that's clear. But now we need to solidify our position here. Harper, what's the sentiment on the floor? Lieutenant Jonas Harper leaned over his datapad, scrolling through the latest reports. It's mixed, sir. Some see us as pioneers, a symbol of untapped potential. Others view our immunity to water as a threat, fearing our capabilities could disrupt the current power structures. Dr. Emily Chen added, There's also a scientific fascination with us. I've had numerous requests for collaborative studies on human biology. Mercer nodded thoughtfully. We'll need to leverage that curiosity into partnerships. The more they invest in us, the less they'll want to antagonize us. Suddenly, the door chimed and Sergeant Mark Lewin entered, his expression tense. Captain, we have a situation. I've intercepted communications suggesting a faction within the Council is plotting against us. They're not happy with the influence we're gaining. Mercer's eyes hardened. Do we know who's leading this faction? Lewin nodded. It's led by Ambassador Krell from the Hydrax cluster. They're known for their reliance on aquatic environments and see our immunity to water as a biological affront. Thank you, Sergeant. Keep an eye on that. Harper, arrange a meeting with Krell. It's time we address this head-on. Later that week, Mercer and Harper met with Ambassador Krell in one of the station's lush botanical gardens, a neutral ground teeming with alien flora. The water-laden air was heavy, but Mercer showed no sign of discomfort, a subtle display of his immunity. Ambassador Krell, a towering figure with translucent skin and fluid movements, greeted them coldly. Captain Mercer, this is an unexpected honor. To what do I owe the pleasure? Mercer didn't miss a beat. Ambassador, it's come to my attention that there are concerns regarding humanity's role in the Council. I'm here to assure you that our intentions are peaceful and cooperative. Krell's gaze was piercing. Your unique traits unsettle many, Captain. Your species wields powers that could drown us all, metaphorically speaking. Harper interjected, aiming to diffuse the tension. We understand the fears, Ambassador, but we believe our differences can benefit all, not just humans. Our immunity to water could lead to advancements in technology and exploration that could help everyone. Krell paused, considering their words. Perhaps, but assurances are thin water, Captain. Actions speak louder. Mercer offered a nod of understanding. Then let us show you. Join us in a joint venture. We're planning a mission to explore the Outer Rim, a region your people know well but avoid due to its volatile environments. Our immunity could serve your explorers as much as ours. Krell's eyes flickered with a mix of intrigue and suspicion. A bold proposal, Mercer. I will consider it. As they parted ways, Mercer and Harper exchanged a look of cautious optimism. Think he'll bite? Harper asked. He might, but keep monitoring those communications. We can't afford to be caught off guard, Mercer replied, his mind already racing through strategies and contingencies. Walking back to their quarters, Mercer felt the weight of his responsibilities pressing down. Each step forward in diplomacy seemed to stir darker currents beneath the surface. Yet, he knew this dance of words and wills was just another part of humanity's journey among the stars. The tension that had been brewing beneath the surface finally erupted into violence. It was during a session of the Galactic Council that the first strike came. As Captain Alex Mercer delivered a speech promoting human integration and technological sharing, alarms blared through the council station, cutting his words short. Security breach in sectors 4 through 10. All personnel, initiate lockdown procedures immediately, the station's automated voice announced. Mercer's heart raced as he exchanged a swift glance with Lieutenant Jonas Harper. Secure the delegates. Harper, with me, he commanded, his voice steady despite the rising chaos. As they rushed out, Sergeant Mark Lewin and his security team moved to protect the human delegation and other council members. The hallways were filled with council members and staff, confusion painted on every face. Mercer and Harper arrived at the control center, where screens flickered with images of armed insurgents storming through the lower levels of the station. The attackers were clad in heavy armor, unidentifiable, but clearly well organized. Identify them, Mercer barked to the security chief, who was frantically attempting to regain control. We're trying, Captain. They're jamming our systems. Communications are down with several sectors, the chief replied, his fingers dancing over the holographic controls. Mercer turned to Harper. Ideas? Harper's eyes were focused, analyzing the situation. They want chaos, not conquest. This isn't an occupation force, it's a statement. We need to cut them off, regain control of our communications, and find their leader. Mercer nodded. Do it. I'll head to the negotiation chamber. If they're making a statement, that's where they'll go next. Splitting up, Mercer made his way to the chamber, a symbol of council unity and a likely target. The hallways echoed with distant gunfire and hurried evacuations. As he entered the chamber, he found himself face to face with a group of insurgents. Without hesitation, he engaged them. Mercer was not just a diplomat, but a seasoned combatant. The skirmish was intense, brief flurries of combat in the once peaceful hall of diplomacy. Meanwhile, Harper worked with station security to isolate the attackers' signals and jam their communications. We've got them cornered in sectors 7 and 8, Harper communicated over the comm. Good. Converge on my position. We take them here, Mercer responded, wiping blood from a cut above his brow. Back in the chamber, Mercer's diplomatic skills were put to a different use as he negotiated with the insurgents' leader, who had finally been cornered. You've made your point. Let's talk, Mercer offered, standing firm despite the chaos. The leader, a towering figure with scars marking his face, sneered. Talk, like you humans have done since you arrived? No, Captain, we end this now. It doesn't have to be this way, Mercer insisted, his voice calm. You've underestimated humanity's commitment to peace. We can find a solution that doesn't involve more bloodshed. As they spoke, Harper and additional security forces surrounded the chamber, preparing for a breach. On Mercer's signal, they stormed in, capturing the insurgents in a swift tactical move. With the immediate threat neutralized, Mercer addressed the council, now sheltered and secure. This attack was a test of our resolve. It's clear that there are those among us who fear change, who respond with violence when faced with the unknown. But let it be known, humanity stands ready to defend not just ourselves, but the ideals of this council. As the cleanup began, Mercer's words resonated through the station, reinforcing his commitment to peace and cooperation. However, the attack had revealed the deep-seated fears and hostility lurking within the Galactic Council, making it clear that the path to integration would be fraught with more peril than anticipated. The attack on the Galactic Council station had far-reaching repercussions. News of the assault spread quickly through the stars, sowing fear and uncertainty among member species. For humanity, the stakes escalated dramatically when reports indicated that an alliance of hostile factions, emboldened by the insurgents' audacity, had mobilized a fleet to strike at the heart of human civilization. Earth. Captain Alex Mercer stood on the bridge of the Helios, now positioned in Earth's orbit, watching the tactical display that showed the incoming enemy fleet. The sense of dread in the command center was palpable, but Mercer remained a pillar of determination. "Harper, status report," Mercer commanded. Lieutenant Jonas Harper, his face illuminated by the tactical screen, responded, "The enemy fleet is closing in fast. We estimate they'll be within striking range in less than an hour. They're led by the Hydraxians, but they've got support from other factions who view us as a threat." Mercer turned to Sergeant Mark Lewin. "Prepare all defensive measures. Coordinate with Earth's planetary defenses. We can't let them breach our perimeter." Lewin nodded, issuing orders to his team. "All units, prepare for imminent engagement. This is not a drill." As the crew of the Helios sprang into action, Dr. Emily Chen entered the bridge, her expression one of grim resolve. "Captain, we've received a message from the Galactic Council. They're unable to send immediate reinforcements but have condemned the attack. They're calling it an unlawful act of war." Mercer's jaw tightened. "Condemnation won't save us. We need to rely on ourselves." Outside the viewport, Earth's orbital defenses activated, deploying a web of satellites and battle stations. The Helios took its position at the forefront, a sentinel against the coming storm. As the enemy fleet emerged from hyperspace, the tension snapped into the sharp focus of imminent conflict. "Incoming enemy ships, preparing to engage," Harper reported, his voice steady despite the rising adrenaline. Mercer issued his commands with precision. "Launch all fighters. Target their lead ships. We need to disrupt their formations." The space around Earth erupted into a chaotic ballet of destruction as human and alien ships clashed. The Helios shook with the impact of enemy fire, but its shields held firm. Mercer's strategy aimed to draw the enemy into concentrated zones where Earth's defenses could maximize their firepower. "Captain, we've got a breach on Deck 4, Lewin's voice cut through the noise. "Boarding parties. Send reinforcements. Hold the line," Mercer ordered. He turned to Harper. "We need to take out their command ship. If we cut off the head, the body will fall." Harper nodded, adjusting the ship's trajectory. "Locking onto their command ship now. All batteries, fire at will." The Helios unleashed a barrage of energy beams, striking the enemy's command ship with relentless force. Explosions rippled across its hull, but it continued to advance, its own weapons targeting the Helios. "Shields at 50%, reported an ensign. "We can't sustain this much longer." Mercer gritted his teeth. "Harper, divert all power to forward weapons. We end this now." With a final, massive discharge of energy, the Helios's cannons pierced the enemy command ship, causing it to erupt in a brilliant explosion. The ripple effect was immediate. Enemy ships faltered, their coordination shattered. "Enemy fleet is retreating," Harper confirmed, relief evident in his voice. Mercer allowed himself a moment to breathe, but only a moment. "Status on the ground," Lewin responded. "Minimal breaches, Captain. Our forces are mopping up the remaining hostiles." Mercer nodded. "Good. Ensure we take prisoners where possible. We need to understand our enemy." As the remnants of the enemy fleet scattered, the human forces began the arduous task of recovery and repair. The siege of Terra had been repelled, but the cost was high. The attack had proven that humanity's presence in the galaxy was far from secure. In the aftermath, Mercer stood before a holographic council meeting, the faces of allied leaders and neutral observers projected around him. "Today, we defended our home. But this is just the beginning. We must forge stronger alliances, not just for humanity's sake, but for the stability of the entire Galactic Council. Together, we can turn back the tide of fear and aggression." As the council members deliberated, Mercer knew that Earth's survival had bought them a chance. Now they had to build on it, turning their defensive victory into a foundation for lasting peace among the stars. The siege of Terra had galvanized humanity and altered the dynamics within the Galactic Council. The bravery and resilience shown by the human defenders earned grudging respect from some quarters and deepened suspicion in others. For Captain Alex Mercer, the challenge now was to leverage the momentum gained from their defensive victory into a strategic advantage. On board the Helios, which was undergoing repairs in Earth's orbit, Mercer convened a meeting with his senior staff. The atmosphere was charged with a mix of determination and fatigue. "Lieutenant Harper, what's our current status?" Mercer asked, his voice carrying the weight of recent battles. Harper scanned his datapad. "Repairs are progressing well, sir. We'll be operational in 2 days. Earth's defenses are being reinforced, and the Council has agreed to send a monitoring delegation to assess the situation." "Good," Mercer replied, his mind already shifting to the next steps. "We need to capitalize on this. Dr. Chen, how are our diplomatic efforts proceeding?" Dr. Emily Chen looked up from her notes, her expression focused. "There's a significant shift among the scientific community within the Council. They're intrigued by our biology and our technology. We have proposals for joint research missions. This could be our way in." Mercer nodded. "It's a start. What about the intelligence on our attackers?" Sergeant Mark Lewin, who had been coordinating with Earth's security forces, leaned forward. "We've identified several key figures within the hostile factions. The Hydraxians led the attack, but they had support from mercenaries and smaller factions threatened by our presence. We have a list of names and possible locations." "Excellent work, Sergeant," Mercer said. "Our next move needs to be both diplomatic and strategic. We'll reach out to potential allies within the Council, those who see the value in human resilience and cooperation. At the same time, we need to disrupt our enemy's ability to coordinate future attacks." As they discussed strategies, an encrypted message arrived from the Galactic Council's delegation, the group of scholars and scientists who had previously shown an interest in humanity. Mercer opened the transmission, revealing Ambassador Threll's familiar visage. "Captain Mercer," Threll began, his tone more conciliatory than before, "your recent defense has impressed many within the Council. There are those who now see the potential in your species. We propose a joint venture, a mission to the Outer Rim, where our combined strengths could uncover new resources and technologies." Mercer exchanged a glance with Harper. "Ambassador Threll, we appreciate the offer. A joint venture could demonstrate the benefits of collaboration. What's the mission's objective?" Threll's image flickered slightly as he continued. "We aim to explore a region rich in exotic materials and possibly new life forms. It's dangerous territory, uncharted by many due to its volatile environment. Your immunity to water could be crucial." "We're interested," Mercer replied. "Send us the details. We'll prepare our team." After the transmission ended, Mercer addressed his crew. "This mission is an opportunity, not just for exploration, but to strengthen our ties within the Council. We'll show them what humanity can bring to the table." 2 days later, the Helios departed for the Outer Rim, accompanied by a diverse fleet of Galactic Council ships. The journey through hyperspace was tense, each crew member aware of the fragile alliance and the dangers that lay ahead. As they approached their destination, sensors picked up anomalies consistent with rich mineral deposits and unusual energy readings. Mercer stood on the bridge, studying the data. "This is it. Let's proceed with caution." The fleet deployed probes and began scanning the area. Harper coordinated the efforts, directing teams to promising locations. Dr. Chen led a scientific contingent, eager to analyze any new discoveries. However, it wasn't long before they encountered resistance. A band of pirates, drawn by the prospect of valuable loot, attacked the fleet. The ensuing battle was fierce, but the combined strength of the human and Council forces proved decisive. Mercer coordinated the defense with precision. "Focus on their lead ship, cut off their command, and the rest will follow." The strategy worked. The pirates were routed, and the fleet secured the area. As calm returned, Dr. Chen reported a breakthrough. "Captain, we've discovered a new alloy with remarkable properties. It could revolutionize our technology." Ambassador Threll, who had been monitoring the situation, appeared on the communication screen. "Captain Mercer, your leadership has once again proven invaluable. This mission's success will resonate within the Council." Mercer nodded. "Thank you, Ambassador. This is just the beginning. Together, we can achieve much more." As the joint venture continued, Mercer felt a growing sense of optimism. The mission had not only yielded valuable resources, but also strengthened bonds between humanity and its potential allies. The turning tide was beginning to favor those who sought peace and cooperation, and Mercer knew that this fragile alliance was a step toward a more united galaxy. Returning to Earth, the Helios was greeted with a hero's welcome. The success of the mission had solidified humanity's place within the Galactic Council, marking a pivotal moment in their journey among the stars. For Mercer and his crew, the future held new challenges, but also new hope. The success of the Outer Rim mission had brought a new wave of optimism and cooperation within the Galactic Council, yet it also heightened the tensions with those factions still opposed to humanity's rising influence. Rumors of another imminent attack grew more credible with each passing day. Captain Alex Mercer knew that another confrontation was inevitable, but this time he intended to be prepared. On the bridge of the Helios, Mercer and his senior officers gathered to discuss their strategy. Lieutenant Jonas Harper initiated the briefing, displaying a holographic map of known enemy movements. Intelligence indicates that a coalition of hostile factions is massing at the edge of the Alpha Quadrant. Their numbers are significant, and they appear to be targeting key Council worlds, including Earth, Harper reported. Dr. Emily Chen, who had been coordinating with the Council's scientific teams, added, "Our new allies from the Outer Rim mission have agreed to support us. They recognize that this threat affects the entire Council, not just humanity." Mercer looked at Sergeant Mark Lewin. "What's our defensive posture?" Lewin, ever the stalwart security officer, responded promptly. "Earth's orbital defenses are stronger than ever, but we can't rely solely on static defenses. We need to take the fight to them, disrupt their preparations before they can launch a full-scale invasion." Mercer nodded. "Agreed. We need to strike a decisive blow. Harper, I want you to coordinate with our allies and prepare an assault fleet. We'll hit them before they have a chance to organize." As plans were laid, a message from Ambassador Threll came through, requesting an urgent meeting. The ambassador's holographic image appeared, his expression grave. "Captain Mercer, the Council has received credible intelligence that the Hydraxians and their allies are planning a coordinated assault. They aim to destabilize the Council and force humanity into submission," Threll explained. "We're aware, Ambassador. We're mobilizing to intercept and neutralize their forces," Mercer replied. Threll's eyes narrowed. "This conflict could escalate beyond anything we've seen. The Council's unity is at stake. We're entrusting you with leading this counteroffensive. Failure is not an option." Mercer's determination was palpable. "We won't fail. We'll protect our home and the Council." The Helios and its allied fleet jumped into hyperspace, heading towards the enemy's staging ground. As they exited hyperspace, the sight before them was daunting. A massive armada of enemy ships, ready for war. "All ships, prepare for battle. Engage at will," Mercer commanded. The void of space lit up with the exchange of fire. The Helios took point, its weapon systems unleashed with deadly precision. Harper coordinated fleet movements, ensuring they maintained tactical superiority. "Target their command ship," Mercer ordered. "We need to cut off their leadership." As the battle raged, Mercer received an urgent communication from Lewin. "Captain, enemy boarding parties have breached several decks. We're engaging them now." Mercer's jaw tightened. "Hold them off. We can't let them disrupt our command." On the ground, Lewin led the security forces in fierce hand-to-hand combat, repelling the boarders with skill and tenacity. Meanwhile, Dr. Chen coordinated medical teams, tending to the wounded and ensuring that the ship's systems remained operational. Back on the bridge, Mercer and Harper focused their efforts on the enemy command ship. "All power to forward weapons. This ends now," Mercer commanded. The Helios fired a concentrated barrage, breaching the enemy command ship's shields and hitting its reactor. The resulting explosion sent shockwaves through the enemy fleet, causing disarray and retreat. "Enemy forces are retreating," Harper confirmed, a note of relief in his voice. Mercer allowed himself a brief moment of satisfaction. "Pursue and neutralize any stragglers. We need to ensure they can't regroup." As the remnants of the enemy fleet were dealt with, Mercer addressed the fleet. "Today, we have defended not just our home, but the ideals of the Galactic Council. This victory is a testament to what we can achieve together. We must remain vigilant and continue to build on this unity." The victory was hard-won, but its significance was undeniable. The Council worlds, including Earth, had been spared from devastation. As the fleet returned to Earth, they were greeted with celebrations and a renewed sense of purpose. Ambassador Threll and other Council leaders commended Mercer and his team for their bravery and strategic brilliance. "Captain Mercer, your leadership has not only saved lives, but has also strengthened the bonds within our Council. Your actions today have forged a path towards lasting peace." Mercer, surrounded by his trusted officers, felt a sense of pride and relief. "We've proven that together we can overcome any threat. Now, it's time to ensure that this alliance continues to grow and prosper." As the celebrations continued, Mercer knew that the road ahead would still be challenging. But with newfound allies and a strengthened resolve, humanity's place within the Galactic Council was more secure than ever. The final stand had not just been a defense of Earth, but a defining moment for the entire galaxy's future. In the aftermath of the decisive victory against the hostile factions, Captain Alex Mercer found himself at a crossroads. The battle had been won, but the war for peace and unity within the Galactic Council was far from over. As the Helios orbited Earth, preparing for the next phase of their mission, Mercer reflected on the path ahead. The bridge was quieter now, a stark contrast to the chaos of battle. Lieutenant Jonas Harper approached Mercer with the latest reports. "Repairs are underway, Captain. The fleet's morale is high and there's a sense of optimism in the air. The Council has called for a peace summit and they want us to attend." Mercer nodded thoughtfully. "This summit could define our future relations within the Council. We need to ensure our voices are heard and that we continue to promote unity." Dr. Emily Chen joined them, her presence bringing a calm assurance. "The scientific community is eager to continue the collaborations we started. There's talk of a new research initiative that could benefit multiple systems." "And the military?" Mercer asked, turning to Sergeant Mark Lewin, who had just stepped onto the bridge. Lewin's expression was one of cautious optimism. "The defensive measures we implemented are being adopted as a standard by the Council. There's also a proposal for a joint task force to patrol key regions and prevent future conflicts." Mercer looked out at the stars, his mind racing with possibilities. This is our chance to not just react to threats, but to build a framework for lasting peace. The Peace Summit was held on a neutral space station at the center of the Galactic Council's territory. Representatives from numerous worlds gathered, their diverse appearances a testament to the galaxy's richness. Mercer, accompanied by his senior staff, represented Earth with a quiet dignity. As the summit commenced, the atmosphere was tense yet hopeful. Mercer took the floor, addressing the assembly. "The challenges we've faced were not just about survival, but about understanding. We've shown that together we are stronger. Let us take this opportunity to forge a path toward a united future." His words resonated with many, stirring a wave of applause. Discussions followed, with Mercer and his team actively participating in debates and strategy sessions. The summit concluded with the signing of the Unity Charter, a series of agreements that promoted cooperation across military, scientific, and economic domains. Mercer, Harper, Chen, and Lewin all signed on behalf of Earth, marking a historic moment in interstellar diplomacy. Back on Earth, the impact of their achievements was palpable. News of the summit's success spread quickly, bolstering hope for a new era of intergalactic cooperation. Mercer was hailed as a hero, but he remained focused on the future. In a quiet moment back on the Helios, Mercer met with his team. "This is just the beginning," he said, his gaze steady. "We've laid the groundwork, but it's up to us to keep building, to keep striving for better." Harper nodded in agreement. "We've got a lot of work ahead, but we've got the right team for it." Chen smiled, her optimism infectious. "And we've got a galaxy of opportunities. Let's explore them together." As the Helios prepared to depart for their next mission, Mercer looked back at Earth one last time. The planet, a vibrant blue orb, was a constant reminder of what they were fighting for. Not just survival, but a thriving future for all. As the ship jumped to hyperspace, heading towards new challenges and adventures, Mercer felt a profound sense of purpose. The battles may have ended, but the journey of shaping a better future for humanity and their allies was just beginning. A new dawn was on the horizon, filled with promise and the endless possibilities of the stars.